The kingdom of Erythane lay under a sky that never truly cleared. Clouds rolled like restless beasts above its silver mountains, and the moon was said to shine brighter there than anywhere else in the world. In that strange light, the rivers glowed faintly, and the trees carried whispers of old enchantments. Among these lands stood Castle Iron, home to Lord Dareth, ruler of the Silver Court, a man feared for his wisdom and admired for his power. But this story does not begin with him. It begins with Cale, a knight sworn to Dareth's service. Cale was known for his loyalty, his calm, and his quiet heart. He did not seek glory. He lived for duty and simple and steady. Yet lately, something in his world had begun to shift, as if the air itself had grown heavier around him. One autumn evening, Cale was summoned to the marble hall. Lord Dareth sat upon the high seat, his dark cloak falling like a shadow around him. Beside him stood Lady Alara, his wife. She was said to be the most beautiful woman in Erythane, but her beauty was the kind that made people uneasy. It was cold, untouchable, like a moon reflected on water. Her eyes were pale gray, and her voice when she spoke was soft but distant, as though she belonged to another world. "Sir Cale," Lord Dareth said, his tone calm yet commanding, "the lady wishes to visit the Lake of Glass. You will escort her there and keep her safe until her return." Cale bowed deeply. "As you command, my lord." The order seemed simple. Yet as Cale looked up, he caught Ilara's gaze for the briefest moment. Her expression was unreadable, not prideful, not afraid, but weary, as if she already knew what awaited her. That night, they left before dawn. The sky was dim, painted in shades of violet and blue. The path to the Lake of Glass led through the woods of Erythane, a forest filled with silver-leaved trees that whispered even when the wind was still. Ilara rode ahead on a pale horse, her cloak trailing like mist. Cale followed a few paces behind, his armor gleaming faintly in the early light. They spoke little. The silence between them was deep but not empty. Cale felt it, something unsaid that pressed on his heart, though he could not name it. After some time, Alara broke the silence. "You have been in Dareth's service for many years, haven't you?" "Yes, my lady," Cale replied, "since my 16th year." "And do you love your lord?" Cale hesitated. "I respect him. He has given me everything I have." Ilara nodded faintly, but there was a sadness in her eyes. Respect is a safer thing than love. Cale looked at her but said nothing. He wondered what it meant for a wife to speak such words. The path opened into a wide clearing. Before them spread the Lake of Glass, vast and still, shining like polished silver beneath the fading sun. Legend said that the lake showed not what was above it, but what was hidden beneath the soul. It was a sacred place touched by the old gods, where the line between life and spirit grew thin. Alara dismounted and walked to the water's edge. Her reflection shimmered beneath her feet, faintly distorted as if the lake itself remembered something she had long forgotten. Cale remained a short distance behind, watching in silence. After a while she spoke again, not to him it seemed, but to the lake. "This is where it began," she whispered. "And where it will end." Cale frowned. "My lady?" She turned slowly toward him, her gray eyes distant. "Do you believe in curses, Sir Cale?" He paused. "I have fought men who were cursed, my lady, but I do not claim to understand the will of the gods." A faint, bitter smile crossed her lips. "Good. Then perhaps you will not try to save me." Before Cale could answer, a sudden wind rose from the lake, rippling its surface. The once smooth water turned dark and restless. The silver reflection of the moon twisted into a storm of light and shadow. Ilara stepped back, startled, her foot slipping on the wet stone. Cale rushed forward instinctively and caught her before she fell. For a heartbeat, their bodies were close, her cold fingers clutching his arm, his hand around her waist. The storm froze. The wind stopped. The lake stilled, perfectly silent. And then, the world changed. In the lake's reflection, Cale no longer saw his own face. He saw a battlefield burning under a black sky. A woman knelt in the mud, her hand stained with silver blood. A man, someone who looked like him, stood beside her, sword drawn, tears in his eyes. "Do not betray me," the woman whispered in that reflection. Then the image vanished. The lake cleared once more, calm and still. Cale released Alara at once, stepping back in shock. She was trembling. Her breath came in quick, uneven gasps. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Alara looked up at him, Her eyes filled with a strange mix of fear and sorrow. "Don't tell him," she said softly. "Don't tell him you held me." Kale's throat tightened. "My lady, please." Her voice was barely a whisper. "You do not understand what he will do. What this means." The air around them seemed colder now. Even the trees stood still, their silver leaves unmoving. Kale nodded slowly. "I will tell no one." Alara's gaze lingered on him for a moment longer, heavy, searching, almost pleading. Then she turned away, her cloak brushing against the stones. "Let us return before nightfall," she said quietly. "The lake remembers too much." They began the journey back to the castle in silence once more. But something had changed between them, something invisible yet unbreakable. Kale's heart felt heavy, burdened with a secret he did not understand. The air itself seemed to carry her voice, echoing faintly in his mind. "Don't tell him you held me." As they neared the castle gates, Kale felt eyes upon them. He glanced toward the towers, and there in the highest window he thought he saw a figure watching. The flicker of a dark cloak, a glint of silver eyes. He blinked, and the figure was gone. That night, sleep did not come easily. Every time Kyle closed his eyes, he saw the lake, its glassy surface twisting into faces, into memories that were not his own. He heard her voice again and again, soft and broken. "Don't tell him." And then, just before dawn, he woke to the sound of footsteps outside his chamber. Slow, deliberate, heavy with purpose. When he opened the door, there was no one there. Only a faint trail of water leading away, glimmering like silver under the moonlight. The next morning came with quiet rain. The sky over Castle Iron was covered in gray clouds, and the sound of water dripping from the high towers echoed through the courtyard. Kale stood near the window of his small chamber, watching the mist rise from the distant forest. The lake of glass was hidden beyond those hills, unseen but never forgotten. His palm still tingled from where he had caught Lady Alara the night before, and though he had washed his hands, a faint silver mark shimmered beneath his skin when the light touched it. He wrapped his hand with a strip of cloth, hiding it from sight. The memory of her voice haunted him. "Don't tell him you held me." He repeated those words again and again as if trying to understand their weight. What had truly happened at that lake? Was it only a strange dream? A knock came at the door. Kale opened it to find Sir Rowan, one of the older knights, standing with his usual grave expression. "Lord Dareth calls for you," Rowan said. Kale followed him through the long corridors lined with black banners and silver torches. The air inside the castle was heavy, carrying the scent of wet stone. They entered the great hall where Lord Dareth sat before the tall windows, his dark cloak spread around him like wings. "Sir Kyle," Dareth said, his deep voice calm but sharp. "You escorted my wife safely." "Yes, my lord," Kale replied, bowing low. "She is unharmed." "Good." Dareth's eyes studied him closely. "The Lake of Glass is not a place for peace. Some men return from it with strange dreams, even madness. Did you see anything unusual there?" Kale's throat tightened. He remembered the storm, the reflection, her trembling hand in his. But he kept his voice steady. "Only the water and the wind, my lord. Nothing more." Dareth watched him a moment longer, then nodded. "You may go." As Kale turned to leave, Dareth added quietly, "You are loyal, Kale. I trust you. Do not give me reason to doubt that." The words stung more than Kale expected. He bowed once more and left. Later that evening, Kale passed through the inner garden. The rain had stopped, but the ground was still wet. Lanterns glowed faintly among the vines. He did not expect to find anyone there. Yet near the fountain stood Lady Alara, cloaked in gray, her hair unbound and shining like pale silk. "My lady," Kale said softly, bowing. She turned toward him, startled, though her eyes softened when she saw it was him. "You should not wander here after dark," she said. "The walls listen." "I could say the same to you," Kale replied. A faint smile touched her lips, but it faded quickly. "Do you remember the lake?" Kale hesitated. "I remember too well." "Then you know something changed there," she said. "I felt it when you caught me. The lake. It recognized you." "What do you mean?" Alara stepped closer, her voice low. "The Lake of Glass was once a temple of the gods of memory. It binds people who share a truth they do not speak. You touched me, Namanda, and now you carry part of my curse." Kale's heart beat faster. "Curse?" Alara lifted her hand. The moonlight caught her wrist, and and for a moment Kyle saw faint silver lines under her skin, like threads of light pulsing gently. "Long ago, before I became Dareth's wife, I made a vow at that lake," she whispered. "I swore never to love another man again. It was the only way to save the life of someone I loved, and the only way to end the war that took everything from me." Her eyes glistened with tears she refused to shed, but the gods are cruel. They turned my vow into a chain. If I ever feel love again, if I even allow my heart to move, the one I love will suffer the curse instead. Kale looked at her in disbelief. "You mean, if you love again, another person will carry your punishment?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, and the lake has chosen you." Silence filled the garden. The air seemed to freeze. Kale's hand burned beneath the cloth. He took a slow breath. "What happens to the cursed?" "They begin to see the truth," she said softly. "They see things they should never see. Memories of others, shadows of the past, and if their heart is not strong enough, the curse consumes them, turning their soul into part of the lake itself." Kyle said nothing for a long time. He looked up at the night sky, where the stars hid behind clouds. "Why did you not tell your husband?" Her expression darkened. "Because he was not part of the vow. He does not understand what binds me. And if he learns that you carry it now, he will destroy you before he questions why." Kyle clenched his fists. "Then I will keep your secret, my lady." Elara gave him a sorrowful smile. "You should not. Secrets like this grow heavy. They turn hearts into stone." "Then let it turn mine," Kale said quietly. "I will not betray you." For a moment she simply stared at him, as if seeing something in his face that frightened her. "You are too kind," she whispered. "Too loyal." Their eyes met in silence. The air between them felt fragile, full of words neither dared to say. Then somewhere in the distance a bell rang from the watchtower. Elara stepped back, her calm mask returning. "Go," she said softly, "before someone sees us together." Kale bowed and left, but as he walked away he felt the mark on his palm pulse once more, as if it were alive. That night, Kale's sleep was restless. He dreamed of the lake again, but this time he stood upon its surface. The water beneath him was mirror clear. He saw Elara beneath the glass, trapped, reaching upward with sorrow in her eyes. Around her swirled faces, knights, kings, women, all fading into silver mist. A voice whispered through the dream, old and echoing. The vow was made in truth. The truth must be broken. Kale woke with a start. His heart pounded. The mark on his palm now glowed faintly in the dark, tracing lines like veins of moonlight. He wrapped his hand again, trembling. The next morning, Lord Dareth hosted a council of knights. Kale sat among them, but his thoughts were far away. As the meeting ended, Dareth spoke privately to him. "You've been distracted," Dareth said. "Is something troubling you?" Kale forced a small smile. "No, my lord. I only lack sleep." "Dreams," Dareth said quietly. "They come for many in this castle, especially those who walk too near the lake." Kyle's blood ran cold, but he kept his composure. "The lake, my lord?" Dareth looked toward the tall window. "It is not just water. It remembers. It has taken many things from me. Perhaps even her," Kyle frowned. "My lord?" Dareth turned back, his eyes sharp. "Never mind. Guard her well. There are worse fates than death for those the lake chooses." Kale bowed, uneasy, and left. Later that night he went again to the garden. He did not expect her to come, but she did. Lady Elara stood under the archway holding a lantern. Her face was pale, her eyes tired. "I felt it," she whispered. "The curse is moving." Kale nodded. "I saw the lake in my dreams." "It will show you what it wants," she said. "But do not trust what you see. The curse feeds on fear and desire. It will twist both." Kyle looked at her. "Then how do we stop it?" She shook her head. "We cannot stop it. We can only survive it." A soft wind stirred the vines. The lantern light flickered, casting gold across her face. For a moment the world felt still. Only the two of them beneath the night, standing too close to danger, too close to truth. Kyle wanted to speak, to tell her he would bear any curse for her. But before he could, the sound of footsteps echoed down the path. Elara's face went pale. "Go," she whispered urgently. "Now." Kale slipped behind the pillars just as Lord Dareth entered the garden. His tall figure moved through the shadows, his gaze fixed on his wife. "I was told you were here," he said. His tone was calm, but there was a cold edge in it. You've been restless since your visit to the lake. Ilara lowered her eyes. The air helps me think. Dareth stepped closer. Be careful where you think, my lady. Some places in this castle listen too well. Kale held his breath from the darkness, the silver mark on his hand burning hotter than ever. When Dareth left, Ilara turned slightly, her eyes finding the shadows where Kyle stood hidden. Her lips moved silently. Leave before he knows. Kale obeyed. But as he slipped away into the night, he felt the weight of the vow tightening around him. Unseen chains of light and sorrow,